Testing. Testing. It's coming through? All right. Gentlemen, we've got microphones going, if you don't mind turning them on. Thank you.
We'll be sort of recording. Okay.
Thank you, Alan.
We went back to the old one.
Page 27, Alan. The penultimate paragraph on that page, the last line. Households and those with connections to Madison wanting to move the county. I think it's to move to the county.
See, I'm on page 27, you say?
Yes.
27, where is it?
The last line of the next to the last paragraph.
Oh, indeed.
Maybe they do
Wanting
want
to-
to move it closer to Northern Virginia. Just take the county and move it up to Fairfax.
Well, if we move it closer to the Canadian border, the test scores will certainly improve. That's
Yeah.
what,
The growing number of
Wanting to
homes,
move to the county, okay.
to move to the county.
low inventory.
Yeah, that's a good catch, because the grammar check wouldn't have caught that.
No. And on the housing starting at 28, Alan, still think, we've got vacancy rates and then showing a shortage in housing. And I think we probably need to tighten that language up, because you got one or the other, but not both. If we've got 12% vacancy rate, then how are we housing constrained?
Well,
Number of vacant houses has doubled. I know where a bunch of them are, because farmland was bought and the houses were boarded up.
I mean, these we should probably delineate for, and this is hard to do. Some of the houses that are listed as vacant are not in fact vacant. They're just not occupied as primary occupancy. They're short-term rentals and the like. But all that data gets lumped in together.
Maybe we could say that.
All right, we can do that.
Yeah, that's a relatively new trend, probably showing up since the previous comp plan, so.
All right, I can make that change. It's easy enough.
Yeah, probably should do that. I vaguely remember that.
All right,
You ready? 42,
42. All right,
1.3, penultimate line, strike farming and insert agriculture.
All right, let's see.
and 1.3?
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
Support.
agriculture. But it is farming.
So we're gonna take farming and the preservation of out.
And you know the guy that invented these stickies got fired from 3M.
Personally, I think that's appropriate.
I love them. Page 50.
Okay,
We're still playing around with 2.5.
I have 2.5 as struck in the,
Strike, yeah. Could we, this is something we've talked about, I don't know if we want it, but I'll throw it out. Insert for the struck portion of 2.5. Examine, clarify, and revise the home-based business ordinances.
Examine, clarify, and revise.
Yeah, the home-based business ordinance.
So if we're adopting a new goal, we can get a consensus.
Clarify.
Examine, clarify, and revise the home-based business ordinance.
Is that a goal or was sub-goal of two?
Now,
That-
that would be a goal. Or a
That's a-
goal in goal two.
It's
Sub
a, it's a
goal.
strategy and goal too,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm gonna go turn on the projector, see if we can get this up here. We'll do it live while we're looking at it.
Okay.
Okay, and we want to be careful about how we phrase this, because I think what you're talking about is the home occupation, is that right? Or is it,
There's a lot of stuff in there that was internally inconsistent and
Yeah.
not ill-defined.
but it appears under home occupation.
Is
if
the
I-
word- Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I think we better use the same
Just home-based, yeah.
home occupation ordinance.
Good point.
So you'd like to use home-based occupation ordinance?
I think, what is the ordinance called? I didn't bring it.
I think it's just called home occupation.
Home occupation? Okay, it's the home
Yeah.
occupation. ordinance.
But I make myself a note that say, make it match the ordinance. We know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's the main idea.
Got it.
It's in goals three, we've got the update to the 29 corridor.
Yep.
And this is in the housing, some of the stuff we're doing, right? I had a sub-goal 3.4, work towards the development of a skilled workforce attractive to employers.
One too far. There we go.
Some of us need all the light we can get.
Because if you look at what developers look for, the very first thing on the highest on their list is a skilled workforce. And that's not something we have.
What page you on here?
50, say it would be the last. goal
Right
under
there.
goal three.
It's just right. Thanks.
Or
All right.
alternatively,
Now that I'm
we
set
have a
here.
skilled workforce, but they all leave the county and go somewhere else to work.
Or it's in the yard of chainsaw maintenance.
Oh, now you're being. I tell you, some of the young woodchucks I taught in Culpeper made a lot more money than I did, so.
My son, who is probation and parole, deals with that frequently. They have quite a stylized and formal business structure in that industry. It's really interesting. But I don't know if that's something we want to put here tonight, since our focus generally is toward real estate and economic development. That's something that, or just leave that for the Economic Development Committee to address.
We have a consensus for adopting a new goal.
Was it under goal 5?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the Economic Development Committee. And maybe one of the strategies under Goal 5 might be something along those lines.
Goal 3 into goal, okay. Just deal with it there. And on 55, three point six, you know, the whole thing with housing, we're dealing on the macroeconomics effects of what is going on in the housing industry. And there's precious little we can do to address the price of real estate and housing. Would it be appropriate for us to include another sub-goal under 3 to encourage economic development initiatives that will increase income to make housing more affordable? Because there's two different things at play if you can't afford housing. One is the price of the housing, and the other is how much money you got to pay for housing. To the extent that we can work on both sides of that conundrum, I don't think it makes sense to work one side and not the other.
All right, so you're suggesting 3.5, 6.
3.6, to encourage economic development initiatives that will increase income to make housing more affordable.
All right. Consensus on that one? So can I ask a common sense question? What's an economic development incentive that would accomplish this? What can we do to do this? What's that?
Bring in IBM.
I mean, I would love that.
Computer engineers. The only one on that one is, and it's right, and I think that's, all economic development should be viewed that way. But you kind of chasing your tail to
Yeah.
some extent, because if you, as you promote some, you're always gonna have a void that is either above or below, and that's just kind of what it is. But I think all economic development should be there for the community, to increase the economic vitality of the area, and that would include salaries and go to housing and everything. The other side is that if you bring in that economic development, you'll make those houses more expensive, and you'll run more people out. So it's one or the other.
Yeah, and you're making an awful strong statement if you say it will encourage income, a higher income, because, I mean, there's no earthly way that anything the county can do is gonna actually make that happen.
I'd almost say taking out of the transportation and put it back up in, economic development. A sub-note somewhere, I was looking at maybe rewording something or just adding the lines with housing, I don't know. I don't know if it'd be under goal 5 with the initiatives of the Board of Supervisors, or.
Yeah, and it gave me problems too, Zach, because, I mean, the goal is to recognize and consider the interconnections between housing and the economic conditions of the county.
Yeah.
So the problem we're trying to solve is to make housing affordable to county residents, and we have two things working against us. one, the cost of housing, two, the ability to purchase the housing, and they're two different things. State law only requires that we consider affordable housing, and we've done that, so I guess we're satisfied with state law. Okay, page 56.
So
I think we got a tourist attraction on page 56 here.
are we're taking 3.6 off then?
Yeah,
Okay.
there seemed to be no consensus, so that's fine. Help me understand this.
Oh, okay.
In the chart on page 56, where the transportation plan, we got the 2 on Route 15,
Well, that's the-
Orange County line to Orange Road, it's increased to 0.5%. And the Orange Road to the Culpeper County line on Route 15 has decreased 2.5%, or 2.15%. But the traffic from Twyman's Mill Road to Route 15 has increased 46.78%. So is there a sinkhole out there, or what am I?
The chairman and I had a conversation about this last week. This data, along with some other data in this plan, I am not able to recreate. So as I go looking for these traffic counts and things, trying to figure out where they came from so I can cite sources on this stuff, I'm not finding it. So we could take the whole chart out and be totally happy.
Or else explain it.
But there's no
Well,
explaining
Since
it.
they can't be explained.
I can't explain it.
We get away with it, get rid of it then.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know any other option other than really, let's say, having a deep conversation with VDOT to try to get it, because I can't find it. Not for lack of
I
trying.
just thought I was missing something, but.
Nope,
Well, and,
I'm working with what I had.
yeah, that, actually, the preceding paragraph can probably come out too, because their final judgment on this is,
Which their traffic counts, it's not ours.
yeah, regardless, the AADT counts are well within the design capacity of the primary roads. So they don't think it's gonna have any effect on any transportation plan.
So why mess with it?
Yeah,
Okay.
we
Good.
made it shorter,
Thank
yay.
you.
So do you want me to pull a paragraph out or just leave it alone?
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, because
The chart and the paragraph.
the chart supposedly supports the paragraph.
There's no explaining that chart.
Yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't do it,
Sinkhole.
I guess. Some kids on four-wheelers back and forth, click, 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 click,
And
click,
my
click, click.
very, it's not my last.
So we want all
Good
the
to
traffic count data to go out, correct? We're gonna strike all the traffic count data?
Sure, why not?
All right, suits me.
Page 65.
Are we doing grammar and stuff like that right now or not?
Let me
Okay.
know what you see. What you got?
On 52,
On page 52.
second to the last line on 52. You got 2 bullets there. On
Yeah.
that first bullet, at the end of the bullet, you got a comma, semicolon, and if you're doing bullets, you wouldn't need that.
Works for me.
You just need the and, not the
Well,
semicolon.
not on the bullet. If you're doing bullets, you wouldn't need
Well,
an
if you got a series, you have to have
Just-
a
Just needs a question mark.
conjunction at the
question.
end. But just 2, maybe, you're probably right, Mike. There's just 2. I'd agree.
I mean, originally it was A and B, and nobody liked the combination of lettered and numbered items, so they all went to bullets.
Page 65. Goal 3. Continue to support Madison County Parks and Rec Authority and its enhancements of facilities at Hoover Ridge Park. And I would propose that we insert consistent with age demographics. Walking trails for old geezers, the population is aging.
What are you saying now? What are you saying?
That we continue to support Parks and Recs Rec with its enhancement of facilities at Hoover Ridge Park, consistent with age demographics.
I'll put it up there for you, Mike. Starting right here.
Yeah, logically speaking, that's probably,
What does that mean?
I don't understand that.
Okay,
I don't understand that, sorry.
Walker
All right.
stands or something?
so, put in pickleball courts instead of tennis courts.
We are doing pickleball.
Yeah,
Well, I don't,
Hey,
we don't need
exciting.
a
fishing pier
high-speed
on the
track, we
lake.
need a walking track, yeah.
But seriously, is it already planned though? I mean, is it already,
No, it just kinda comes together.
okay?
One piece after another. We started with cow trails, now we have walking paths with
Yep.
mulch and,
what's the difference?
exactly, thank you. I do look forward to seeing Mr. Smith out there when Black Cat opens.
Shuffleboard, what else?
Shuffleboard.
There you go. That's even better than pickleball.
The love boat.
Bocce for the old geezers.
There you go.
I mean,
Well, that'll be dealt with in public hearing before they do anything.
Put it in
Tables to
there.
play chess, little pavilions for the bridge club.
Whatever, yeah. Mahjong room.
There you go.
so a little bit of stuff for the little kids that we have and a lot of stuff for the older folks. Got it.
Public utility plan. Those are good words, but words have meaning, and everything we're talking about is not public utilities. So, public utilities actually are water, wastewater, sewage. They can be constructed as public utilities.
Okay,
Electric, distribution, transmission, and generation are public utilities. Gas transmission, distribution, public utilities. Some of the POTS, the plain old telephone service that are overhead conductor are public utilities. CATV is not a public utility, wireless communications are not public utilities. Broadband is not a public utility, whether it's fixed wireless or conductor. So I think we need to change the title of this from public utility to say public utility and communications plan.
oh, that's easy fix, we can do that.
And we're gonna have to do that about every time we say any utility or communication provider. Just
Okay.
insert or communication provider every time we say utility in that, and that's kind of an easy search and insert.
Got it. Utility, and then we want to do or communication provider.
Or by, utility or communication provider. I think,
How about public service plan?
because they're not all public service. And what we, Alan, what we could do is that on the first line, from time to time, public utilities, let's say, as described in section 56-232 of the Code of Virginia, as well as communication providers, including but not limited to cellular, broadband, wireless internet service providers, and CATV.
All right,
And I can give you this and see.
yeah, I mean, hand it to me, we'll stick it in there.
And that makes it technically correct.
It's the best kind of correct. Technically correct is the best kind of correct.
The best kind of correct.
All right, let's see here. Let me type it here and then I'll stick it in there.
Clay, while he's getting that in there, did we ever collect franchise tax from the CATV provider? Does the CAT provider have a franchise to provide service in the county?
I don't think we've ever collected a franchise tax on it.
because, you know, Madison did not collect the tax on wireless communications. And I don't know if they
No,
collected,
I'm trying to think of it, is there a franchise here?
because they changed the communications. We're still able to do it. And I can't imagine them being allowed to start stringing wire without a franchise.
Don't know, I will check.
I've looked all over for the contract when we were doing that contract thing years ago.
Oh, I will check, I'll go in, or, I don't, I have no idea, no one's ever asked me that before, so.
You
Who
know,
pays that?
Huh?
Who would pay that? The company,
The consumer. And if you look at the Comcast bill, they got line items for everything in the world, a lot of which is bogus, I know, because I used to do a whole lot of work in that area.
Well, no, you want to see if we can get you an answer, I don't know.
It's just,
I don't think there is a locally owned franchise either, I can't think of anyone.
what, you know, it started out
Yeah, I do.
locally owned, and then it was sold to that group in Texas and went bankrupt. I'd done quite a bit of research on that at one.
Still no. Let me get an answer.
Okay.
I stuck it in there. We'll clean up
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's,
thanks.
usual stuff, yep.
that's now, that's called goal one now. And then we have strategies.
Keep in mind that this whole section is directly imported from the previous utility corridor study.
Yeah.
So there's nothing new in here.
In red, the objective there.
Yep.
All right, we have the goal, we've got our strategies. How is that gonna fit in with our format that we're using and everything else? We don't have objective in anything else. It's now structured as goals and strategies.
All right, so you want to strike it?
Let's make sure we're not leaving anything out.
You've got Clay's scenic view shed in there.
Yeah, I would love that. Argue doors over that. Talk about doors.
You can't prevent disruption of activities when you're putting in infrastructure. I don't know who was dreamed that up, but
Are we referencing the document, was it John that you brought up, who brought up from the public brought up the transmission lines? There's another document we were gonna reference as well.
well, I think that what we were looking at, and I
This is
have a
it.
note in that, is that,
That's it, I guess?
no, there was,
I thought he said that.
the word proposed is in here somewhere, Alan, and it's not here, it's where?
Who's that gentleman, just, what was his name?
Jim Alexander.
Oh, yeah, he's referring to, strategy 14.
Yeah,
They
that's
haven't been
right.
renumbered, have they?
Yeah, and 14, proposed power line corridor, was that adopted? I think it was.
Yeah, I asked him that, yeah.
So we need to
Take out
find out
proposed.
whatever it's called in that ordinance.
I think it is the power line corridor. I'll look at
Yeah,
it.
it's
think it
the
is.
Madison County Power Line
So
Corridor.
just strike proposed and we're good on that.
Okay.
Bill, do you remember this is reference to in, 2.4 in the land use strategies? And I haven't looked at that for internal consistency.
Yeah, okay.
There's a paragraph on utility corridors.
Yeah, the problem I have with, this is grammatical, basically. The way this goal is written, it refers back to the county's comprehensive plan, but now it is part of the comprehensive plan itself, so,
I think it has to be under that code provision. We can look it up and see.
well, I'm talking about the statement of goal.
Oh,
up
the
here.
goal?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's self-referencing. So, they need to be consistent with the county's ordinances or something like that. I mean, we now have it in the comprehensive plan. It doesn't seem to me logical for that goal to refer to supporting the comprehensive plan, since it is part of the comprehensive plan.
Mr. Carpenter, which goal are you looking at?
It's, they're top of the page, public utilities. It's not the strategy, it's the goal up there. That
Oh,
was the
understood.
one
Thank
that-
you.
Yeah. I think originally that must have been the intent to refer the amendment back to the rest of the comprehensive plan.
You could supportive of the remaining goals or the,
Or,
you know,
Mr. Chairman, what are we required by law first, if we started there? Like, is it each public utility, and we can list those out as the goals, each subset of, or does it, do you know, Jim, was it actually specifically called for the utilities?
give me a
What,
second.
on that objective stuff?
Yeah.
That objective stuff, I think, is Bravo Sierra. You cannot, I mean, how do you do that? How do you put in infrastructure and not disturb the land? I mean, that's insane.
yeah, but we specifically have ordinances
Yeah,
for
but-
cell phone towers. We have ordinances for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and actually, 11 is, I don't know what that's in there for. It sounds good, except for the fact that that's dealing with 56-46.1 is the State Corporation Commission in those cases where it has jurisdiction on these kind of expansions. And they have no jurisdiction on fixed wireless, for example. Now, they had jurisdictions on all the poles that got changed in Madison to accommodate Firefly. I don't know if they got permission, or they just did it.
I mean, I'm looking at the 15.2-22, whatever, 2223. All I can see that it calls for is the one on broadband. Does it, are we legally required by the state on other utilities? Am I just missing it? I can't read.
What, the 15.2-2223?
Yeah, all I see it calls us,
Or are you going C8?
yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
That-
there's, you're right, there's it.
yeah, that was a very, very specific,
So then it's just calling for the transmission lines and then is it F, no, E after that is
Yeah.
broadband. So those are the only two we really have to focus on, right?
I mean, the only other thing, Mr. Whitman, is before that, item 8 is just a designation of corridors or routes for electric lines, 150 kilovolts or more.
yeah. That was specifically what, yeah.
Yeah.
It appears, without having all the history, that most of this came to pass because of a previous proposed project in which the county thought it necessary to do additional regulation, which is why we had a bunch of folks in here a few meetings ago that said that they unequivocally wanted to keep this.
Yeah, they wanted to keep it in my backyard and not theirs. That's what they wanted.
Okay, well, fair enough, but it was adopted.
Yeah, no, it was.
Does that distribution line go through there?
No, the transmission cord,
It does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess you're right, it does cross 29 and go over on the Brightwood side.
Yeah, and it's just, all we have is 69 kV is the hottest line we have in the county.
Yeah,
Because anything above that is transmission. We don't have any transmission per
Right.
se here. We got some stuff that
Well,
the
yeah,
co-op calls transmission, but
we
it's
have
not.
transmission from Gordonsville to Pratt's,
Yeah, that's right.
which is in the process of falling down. so. Okay, is there any consensus on number 11 here about that
Yeah, I don't know why
height
it's
and
there.
design of poles?
What's wrong with number 11?
Yeah,
Because that's an SCC
but,
provision, Clay, and if the SCC doesn't have jurisdiction, and they would not have jurisdiction for fixed wireless, then this really isn't saying that we do have jurisdiction, and it doesn't say that we have jurisdiction over utility poles for which the SCC has jurisdiction.
What about throwing it to Hannon?
yeah, that
Throw
goes,
it to Hannon and see if you can get anything to stick, or if you can come up with something that actually means what it's intended to mean.
And at the end of the day, you want it to mean that we can regulate the height of the poles?
I think
Well-
that's what it says, 'cause and if,
in the original discussions that were going on, the county does not actually have any authority in that area.
nope, State Corporation Commission.
But I think this might be included mostly to make the possible development aware of the fact that we do know that the SEC does have requirements on that. Because one of the problems that we had with Dominion at the time was they like to go straight lines cross country. And the SEC specifically doesn't say you can do that.
That's right.
You go, I can give you an example. If you ever go to Charlottesville on Route 20, going the back way into Charlottesville, ends up on, if there's a small mountain there after you pass through the Somerset area, and you see the cut going straight up the edge side of the mountain, just right straight up it.
Yep.
And the SEC says that they've got to do some kind of zigzag path. They're not supposed to have that long, straight cut like that. But they ignore it. That was the problem. That's what started all of this. Because Dominion was,
Doing anything they bloody well please.
yes, and this was probably the first time that Dominion ever was defeated in one of their proposals. But they did all kinds of things wrong.
So, I mean, do you want to reference this that says, you know,
Just leave it
in accordance with,
Leave it in, it doesn't,
Yeah.
all right,
If nothing else, it says we know that this exists, and we expect it to be followed.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, most of the rest of these were brought in, I think, when the planning commission sat down to write this, they said, let's do all these good things that we want to be.
I mean, knowing
Sure,
how many hours went into this, and it was many,
Yes.
I have no doubt that everything in here was carefully considered.
Yeah, because it's just a shame Cardy's not here, because I'm pretty sure Cardy was in charge of this.
You might very well have been.
Yeah.
But I'm hesitant to make any substantive changes.
I think you just leave it, if it doesn't mean anything, and I don't think it does, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a cautionary tale.
okay, well, so be it.
The person that put together a lot of this and put in just a huge amount of work is that Jim Alexander. Flash this in front of Hannon, and Hannon's got reference questions, and send him to talk to, I can get Jim Alexander's contacts and goes on. And maybe he'll have some kind of historical reference on this specific reference.
Yeah. This
All right, I'll let them know.
This may predate the time you were here. one time, and on the hottest day of one summer, the Pratt substation went over a certain threshold for the amount of power it transmitted. Dominion said, okay.
Great.
They did it once, that means that we can go ahead and say, we have to have a second power line, transmission line coming into Pratt's. So they started. And the SCC was ready to, like, they just rubber stamped Dominion anyway. And Jim Alexander discovered that the PJM, which is the regional utility control, it's a quasi-government thing.
Regional transmission.
Yeah.
Corporation.
They had a position that nobody filled for an at-large member. So he went up there and got on the commission. He's still on it. And they discovered in the process that Dominion had never gotten approval. So, yeah, I think, yeah, you will, yeah. They actually, these people came to Madison and they talked to the Board of Supervisors. Yeah.
Gotta love the tenacity of an upset citizen.
Yep, we need to put that in the history books. All right, anything else? So are we taking that red objectives thing out completely? Is that what we decided to do?
Yeah.
You all tell me.
We don't need it.
We're gonna rephrase that as goal one and phrase it
Rephrase what?
somehow.
What, the objective?
Oh, so you wanna make,
Goal one.
you wanna make this goal one and this goal two?
No, it's good.
As Don mentioned, the objective's pretty much the same wording back up on
Yeah,
page 40,
yeah.
one or something.
Okay, I mean, this was essentially, to serve the adoption of it, so
Yeah.
that's fine, we can do that. Easy enough.
Strike that.
Yeah, and then
And then the
consistent
strategies.
with and supportive of the county's ordinances or something like that, instead of referring back to the comprehensive plan. You can, that's something that you might talk to Hannon about a little bit, and see what his take on that is. Legally, it may be perfectly okay to self-reference something like that. Is there anything else on this that? I mean, they worked a technology plan in on this and everything.
All right, we'll make that work.
Okay.
And that's, the last thing I had was actually page 19 on the appendix A.
Okay.
And that was where both Comcast and FiberLight and all the other folks that are running fiber up and down in the utility corridor on 29,
Mhm.
they are not utilities, and I'm wondering whether or not, back to the discussion I was having with Clay on franchise fees.
So if we've adopted we've adopted another document that is already complete into this plan. And although we have the ability to edit it, I hate to change the spirit of the document that was previously adopted,
No,
even
but-
if it's wrong.
Oh, no, and I'm in total agreement with you. I just said those were just two questions I had, whether or not we have franchise agreements.
Can
Well,
definitely put that in the
They
new
might
one.
want to check with Commissioner of the Revenue, see, because the last averages I was looking at, underground fiber was about 35K a mile. And they've been putting fiber in on both sides of 29 for the last 2 years. I'm wondering
Okay, well,
how much money we're getting in personal property tax.
that's,
You had one too, right?
since we're,
Did I send you,
Mhm.
yeah, we
I
already
can pull
have,
it up. Just didn't want to gloss over if you wanted to look at something.
yeah, we already have the review. We already have the review and revise the Route 29 corridor study,
Mhm.
which is what this is in.
Yes.
That's, if we want to make a note of that, we need to look at that, yeah.
Well, when we look at it, we'll.
Yeah, at this time, we're not looking at
Nope.
editing this.
I I don't think so.
but that's part of what we want to look at when we do review.
Yeah. I would say that you leave it, you let it stand as it was. But I understand
I
there are
think
things
we
that
have
probably
to.
ought to be revised.
With the note that, you know, as we said, one of our strategies is to revise
Revised,
or.
because we adopted it by reference, which means
Yeah.
as it was.
Agreed.
That's all I had.
Should I ask if anybody else has any?
Well, let's say, Don did send me comments earlier. I'm pulling it up.
Okay.
I've got it here. It was in, again, back up at the, in the land use.
Yeah, the brown fields are, yeah.
It was goal, strategy 2.3,
What page was that, Don?
page 43.
And 2.3,
Yeah, I remember we discussed that at some length when we went through it.
Yeah, it originally said, commercial solar facilities in there.
Uh-huh.
And there was some discussion, which that's fine, leave that, but it just didn't seem to make sense to, steer development to brownfields, landfills. There's a specific program that incentivizes small solar facilities on that type of property, but right now it just, I don't think we want to steer housing, for instance, development to those places. Anyway, just pointing that out, that seems incomplete. Of course, I'd love to see solar facilities stuff back in there, but
I happen to agree with you.
no.
Okay. When we looked at that, I thought we were going to redline that.
Even if it's not in my backyard.
And, yeah. And just make it a simple statement.
And the spirit in which that was drafted is, again, if there is a commercial solar facility that presents an application to the county, they should be steered to appropriate places as
Yeah.
opposed to just prime farmland. That's the history of that.
Okay, the notes I have on this one said that we were gonna take out the reference to solar facilities and steer such facilities to brownfields and landfills. And say,
With what development? It says such
yeah,
development. and-
well, yeah, we, minimize the use of green fields, forest, and productive farmland for commercial and residential development, was the note that I had.
That was about the third iteration.
Yeah, okay.
But say, we had one objection from Mr. Elliott about the solar facilities, that he wanted to bring it out. So
So this is just anything for development now and steer it to.
is how it got changed. When it was originally, the spirit of it was to not take up 1,000 acres of farmland to cover it with solar panels. It goes with our other goals to preserve farmland.
Yeah,
What else you got, Don?
That was all I had.
We're expecting a much bigger list than that. That was not impressive at all.
Well, I know.
We might be getting a good grade.
I was waiting to see how tonight went. Maybe some other-
okay, so we're gonna try to leave that in the way it is then?
Whatever such development is.
Okay,
Of course, I had the question that the only brownfield we have is the only landfill that
yeah. And it's currently in use, yeah.
That's come up. Anyway, not for tonight.
What are we doing with the gas out there?
I won't.
Okay. I think the question that I had originally on that was the specific reference to the commercial solar facilities. Well,
About industrial facilities.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's, if we just say commercial and residential development, then we're saying the same thing. We're inclusive now, and we're not alerting the state of Virginia that we don't want a commercial solar facility. I don't know if you've been keeping up with this.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They are trying really hard to figure out a way to take that away from the counties. Yes, take that authority away from the counties, because they do not like the fact that many counties are saying no to a commercial solar
Because they
facility.
know better. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that people in Fairfax know better than people knows.
But if we,
Is solar facility, commercial solar facility even mentioned anywhere else?
No,
in
but
this
if,
whole
but if you wanna do a commercial facility, you gotta be zoned industrial. So the sub rosa here is that we don't want.
I don't even necessarily think that commercial is appropriate to put in there, because you're gonna have some area now that's, zoned A1, and you could get a good-sized business that wants to come in here that would be a very pleasant neighbor, provide a lot of jobs, and you wanna give them the opportunity to do that. But, a power plant is different. That really should be industrial, whether it be solar or any coal, whatever. So, you keep the industrial off of the productive farmland.
Well, we do have a commercial solar ordinance,
We do.
so
and it's decided.
if we have that ordinance, why would we mention it?
Because this has teeth. Truly.
I'm done, I think it should be mentioned somewhere. Personally.
What do you propose?
I didn't mind the way it was initially. But
Just be blunt.
because if not, we haven't mentioned it anyway.
I'm okay with that.
And I think,
At least we've mentioned it.
yeah, and I think that was Pete's point, maybe, that it needs to be mentioned specifically. Okay. Leave it in there, agree?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right.
If we didn't have the ordinance, that'd be one thing.
Would it be sufficient?
They collected landfill gases.
They have to monitor it,
So not selling any wet gas.
No. Yeah, the history of that's interesting, too.
Yeah, the history of who got paid for the,
Yes.
trees is interesting.
Yeah. Well, it all ties back to the same thing.
Yeah.
There's not a bar close enough to unpack that one. All right, gentlemen, what else would you like to do?
Go home.
Oh, man. All
Um,
right.
so-
What's the value of specifically mentioning brownfields and landfills? What we're really trying to just say is minimize the use of greenfields, forest, and productive farmland. Is there any value in specifically mentioning brownfields and landfills?
Well, you're giving an alternative. You're saying you can't do it here, but you can do it here. You're giving the option. You're saying, we don't say we don't want it anywhere. We want it at these locations where it's more appropriate.
And industry folks understand brownfield, I think it's good.
I think it's good.
Well, and I don't know if there are technical, I don't know how many of those there are in the county, but there's a specific Virginia energy program that incentivizes, development. of
Brownfield,
brownfield.
yeah,
So I
right.
think, again, history of how that paragraph got workshopped or whatever, I think that's why it's in there.
So
Well,
that's,
really, there's only one, isn't it? By definition.
Where is it, Mike?
Landfill.
Yeah, landfill, but there's other
I mean,
places.
generically,
around
brownfields can be
for
just
state,
previously developed land or, like, for instance, for that Virginia energy program, I don't know that they have a set list of those already, like, it's not like Superfund sites that are already dedicated locality could maybe make the case that we have this parcel that had this former use that is not, now it's not conducive to ag or some other use, and it might be eligible for that program.
In Texas, our dairies after 15 years become brownfield because of urine in the soil, and they designate, it. And people are coming in from Minnesota because of
Yeah.
urine counts.
Yeah. I guess
They're-
something like a quarry maybe around here would be,
There's a bunch of
Yeah,
old
okay.
landfills all over Madison County.
yeah, that's,
Which really is the kind of place that that's appropriate, truly. You can't do anything else with it, so it's a productive use for something that's not suitable for agriculture or your neighborhood or whatever. That's where those things should go, that and impervious surfaces.
okay. So,
Marine services.
yeah. Okay.
On that sinkhole out at,
They don't want to lose it.
Yeah, wherever that road is.
fit on the sinkhole out
Yeah, we don't even know where some of the landfills are that used to be in Madison County,
That's probably fair.
out behind the farmhouse.
So gentlemen, as far as the document is considered, we're cleaning up some things here. Is there any other content that we want to change before we make a move?
there. No, you did a really good job on getting that stuff,
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I can't take all the credit,
and
but
learning a new software program.
do the
Photos,
best you
yeah.
can.
Do we now have photos that are actually from Madison County, or are you still working on that?
No? Every time y'all told me that you didn't like a photo, I took it out, so you got what's in here.
Okay.
But if you want me to ask the public, go on Facebook or something and say, if you have historic photos, send it to me. We got until public hearing, whenever that
Too
comes
late
up.
for that, I think.
So you got 30 days at minimum. So if you want me to go on Facebook and ask for it or something, I
Open that
will.
can of worms, okay. I think we have a consensus
Can
on
we-
that.
Leave it alone?
No, we
Yeah,
just
leave it
need to
alone.
write Nathan was here on the roof of the,
Now,
courthouse.
Jonathan did ask me to update the cover photo. It shows the roof without the new paint job on it. So I think that we'll see about getting a couple of drone pictures that show a similar picture to what's there, but more recent, that looks a little better.
Gavin will do
Yeah, we'll ask.
That doesn't work, you can Photoshop it, so.
that. Well, just put
I gotta
Nathan-
learn to use Photoshop too? Just,
Oh, okay.
we can do
Put
that.
put Nathan was here.
more people on the road, too.
You know, I like Zach's AI people that he suggested, and if you don't know about that, ask Zach later. All right, so do you want me to, what needs to happen with this thing, if you're generally happy with it? Because we're gonna do grammatical,
Yeah, run it through
updates,
that.
and we're gonna make the formatting just, we're gonna focus on that. I've got some clickable maps in here now that, you go to whatever the site is that it came from. So we're gonna do all the polishing, but is this ready to go, to be recommended at a meeting to go to the board? We got a workshop coming up?
We gotta go-
Workshop with the planning commission. That was the last conversation that we had, and that's been, what, 5 months ago? We wanna have a dual workshop with, the planning commission on this, so that if we have issues going through it, we can go to the planning commission, who has walked all the way through it, and then in turn, we also think the people that did the initial comp plan stuff, we just go through and we work this thing out. When that would be, is a better question. I don't have an answer to that. I guess sometime, probably maybe in March,
Okay.
maybe.
We have advertised now to meet next Monday, just like we've met tonight, should we choose to do so. But that is up to you all if you want to meet for another meeting, or if you want to, small changes, we could kick to the end of a workshop, because we'd have 15, 20 minutes in it if you wanted. But it's up to you all what you want to do.
That is what you should do. You're losing steam.
Right, yeah, I think we've been through it, we've all had our say. I think we're ready to put it in a draft that we can then, our next step, as Clay says, is to move on to a joint meeting. And I don't know, do we want to still have another, maybe an open public meeting for the public before we go to a approval meeting?
Well, we have to do a public hearing no matter what.
Yeah.
But then also, I think that if we do one of these joint deals,
Then we can think of that as.
and then throw some,
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope public does show up.
Yeah.
And tell us what they do like, what they don't like,
I'll
and
go-
having it on the internet just makes it even easier, so that's.
Don't
a
you
win
worry,
as well.
I'll put the new one up there and go stir the pot. We'll see what we can get.
Yeah.
Well, the person that's used the comp plan against us better than anybody is sitting with us now, so I mean, we've got him, he's here, he's gonna give us some input, that's positive.
Right. You have to study it to use it, that's right.
Hey, have fun.
No, you haven't even found my sneaky language yet.
Okay, so, any need to go to the next meeting? I was kind of hoping we wouldn't have to use it. Strike the meeting. Strike the meeting? Second?
All right.
Second, third, fourth?
Okay, so we're not doing a meeting next Monday. Do you want to have a standing agenda item for minor edits before we get there, just in case somebody's got a comment that you think about, that we can do it?
That's
Okay.
not a bad
And if you don't want to say anything, we can just say nothing at this time and move on.
Yeah.
But if you want to adopt something, send it to me ahead of time, write it down. I'll put it on the screen and we'll go adopt or not.
That sounds like a good idea,
When would that be?
At-
yeah. At regular.
Ongoing at workshops until we can get a joint workshop with the board and planning commission. So I'm going to see you in a few weeks, or whenever I see you. I'll just keep it on the agenda until we end up doing something, like putting it to public hearing.
Yep.
All right.
Agreed. Okay. Okay,
Any other, what else you want to do?
adjourn?
It's your
We
motion.
have a-
Second.
Okay. I wasn't supposed to make the motion, okay, that's, you'll make the motion.
I'll
okay.
make the motion for you.
All right,
Motion
and
to
second,
adjourn.
all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Y'all have a good evening. Turn off your lights.
I say, don't fry the computer now. I haven't done my cloud save.
See you, Alan.
See y'all. I did. I responded to you too. The, I'll turn this off. Nope.